Welcome to Uncloseted Conversations. Even if you stumbled upon this channel by accident, you are welcome here. The stories here are from my heart, from my soul, from my pen to your ears. I hope that you will stay a little longer and open yourself to the magic of storytelling. Here I write fiction, and though not always aligning with reality, it still tugs at heartstrings. Stories are escapes and sometimes a balm to the soul. So, enjoy your time here, and if reality presses down too loud and too hard, come knock at the door, come in, take a seat, grab a coffee, and just exhale. These are veil-bound stories, and the space is free and non-judgmental. Sit back, earphones or pods in, and let's listen to another exquisite romance. The hours between waking, the night remembered. Chapter 1, Night Wanderer. Riley Donovan sat rigid on her side of the shared apartment, the dim glow of streetlights spilling through the blinds. Daniela Danny Sanchez moved quietly in the other room, but not in the way of someone asleep. Not really. Riley's heart lurched as Danny shuffled across the room, bare feet brushing the carpet, hair falling into her face like a dark curtain. She sat up on the edge of her own bed, blanket twisted around her knees, frozen. Oh no, not again. It had started subtly. After the brutal breakup, Danny walking through the apartment in the dead of night, whispering fragments of conversation, brushing her hair, fingering the edge of a pillow. At first, Riley had tried to wake her, softly shaking her shoulder. But Danny's eyes would open, glazed and distant, murmuring nonsense, then she'd slide back into slumber with an eerie fluidity. Now Riley's chest tightened as Danny's movements drew closer. She couldn't look away. Danny stopped by the small desk where Riley kept her sketchpad. She leaned slightly, brushing a stray strand of hair from Riley's face. The touch was featherlight, almost intimate. Riley's breath caught in her throat. I can't wake her, Riley thought, a mix of awe and terror twisting in her stomach. Danny was straight. Danny didn't know what she was doing, but every instinct told Riley to freeze, to let this happen, and pray it didn't cross lines that couldn't be uncrossed. Danny hummed softly, a tune Riley couldn't place, as she drifted closer, brushing her fingertips against Riley's cheek, then lingering near the edge of the bed, as if deciding something without the conscious mind's permission. Riley's pulse thundered. She's so close, just don't wake her. Don't ruin this. The night stretched. Danny's hand hovered near Riley's shoulder, then retreated, restless and unknowable. Finally, as quietly as she had arrived, Danny shuffled back to her own room. Riley exhaled shakily, heart still hammering, mind swirling with emotions she barely understood. And in that silence, Riley realized she was falling deeper in ways she wasn't meant to, for the person she had sworn was completely unavailable. Chapter 2. The Ritual Begins. Night after night, the apartment settled into a fragile rhythm. Riley lay awake long after Danny's door clicked softly shut, her own thoughts a tangle of fear and longing. She knew when it started, this unspoken pattern, but every night Danny wandered in, sleepwalking, her movements delicate, instinctive, brushing against Riley like a whisper. Riley's pulse spiked the first time Danny's hand lingered on her cheek. Her mind screamed, tell her. She's straight. This is wrong. But something deeper held her back. Danny's body was relaxed, unguarded, and entirely unaware. This wasn't intentional. It wasn't real, not in the waking sense, but the effect it had on Riley was seismic. And so she stayed silent. Every night, Danny's sleepwalking became more intimate, more tender. She would slide a hand lightly along Riley's arm, brushing away phantom hair from her face. Sit at the edge of Riley's bed, her fingertips barely grazing her skin, then retreat, as if testing the waters of some uncharted dream. Whisper nonsense under her breath, words muffled but warm, the cadence like a lullaby meant only for Riley. Riley's internal war raged with each encounter. If I tell her, she'll freak. She'll wake up and see me as some weirdo. Or worse, she'll pull away, and I'll lose her completely. So, she stayed quiet, heart hammering, body taut, craving the touch that came without intent. God, if this is the only way Danny touches me, if this is the only way she's near me, I will accept it, Riley admitted in the dark. Her fingers twitched, aching to hold Danny, but she forced herself to stay still. Each moment became a precious secret, a stolen intimacy she would never trade for certainty. By the seventh night, Riley knew the pattern by heart. Danny would drift from her own room at the same time, wander softly across the apartment, hover, linger, brush, hum, and retreat. And each time, Riley felt something in her shift, awareness of her own longing, recognition of her helpless desire, and the ache of closeness she couldn't claim openly. And yet, she couldn't stop it. It had become their unspoken ritual, a dance of subconscious desire and deliberate restraint. Riley lived for those nights, every brush of skin, every whisper, every fleeting connection. And she swore to herself she would never speak of it. Not yet. Not until Danny was truly awake, truly aware, and maybe, just maybe, ready to meet her in that dangerous, tender space between sleep and reality. Chapter 3. The Quiet Storm. The apartment was silent, thick with the kind of calm that only comes after midnight. Riley lay perfectly still, heart hammering beneath her ribs, eyes wide in the dark. Danny was at the edge of her bed again, moving like a shadow, hair tumbling across her face, fingers grazing the air near Riley's shoulder. Riley's breath caught. Every nerve screamed at her, do something. Move. Pull away. Say something. But every instinct urged her to stay frozen, to let this stolen ritual continue. God, this is dangerous. She's straight. She doesn't even know what she's doing. And I want her. I want her so badly it hurts, Riley admitted silently, teeth clenched against the ache. Her body hummed with the faint brush of Danny's fingers, the subtle warmth of proximity, and every time Danny leaned closer, her subconscious whispered promises Riley wasn't sure she could resist. Danny hummed again, a soft, half-forgotten tune, brushing her hand along Riley's cheek. Riley froze mid-breath, heart in her throat, stomach tight. She could feel the pull of Danny's presence like gravity, irresistible and frightening. If I tell her, I'll ruin everything. She'll wake up and see me differently, or worse, she'll pull away. But if I don't, God, if I don't, I'll go insane from wanting her. Riley didn't move. She let the moment stretch, let every flicker of touch, every whisper of movement, imprint itself on her memory. The ritual continued, nights folding into nights, subtle intimacy stacked layer upon layer of longing and restraint. Morning came soft and ordinary, sun filtering through the blinds like nothing had shifted at all. Danny was herself again, bright, sarcastic, energetic, moving through her morning routine, humming, making coffee. Riley, did you see my phone charger? Danny asked, plucking the cord off the counter. She smiled, oblivious. Riley blinked, heart still drumming from the night's stolen closeness. It's over there, she said, voice calm, but inside she was a storm, the tempest of desire and fear crashing through her chest. They talked as normal. They joked. They bantered. Danny rambled about her plans for the day, oblivious, radiant. And Riley? Riley sat, smiling, nodding, listening, pretending to be calm, but every brush of Danny's hand against hers as she reached for something, every glance, every laugh, sent sparks racing through her. She could still feel the phantom touch of last night, Danny's hair brushing her cheek, the soft warmth of her presence. God, I can't survive like this. But I can't tell her. Not yet. Not until I'm ready to risk everything, Riley thought, gripping her mug so tightly her knuckles ached. The ritual had become more than nights wandering in sleep. It was a craving, a longing, a fire she couldn't put out, quietly raging, fiercely alive, and entirely hers alone. Chapter 4. Familiar Shadows. Danny stirred her coffee absent-mindedly, glancing at Riley across the kitchen table. There was something different. Something subtle about the way Riley moved, the curve of her smile, the warmth in her eyes. She couldn't place it. You've been acting weird lately, Danny said, voice casual but curious. Like, I don't know, familiar somehow. And I've been having these weird dreams, but I can't remember much. Just fragments. Nothing makes sense. Riley's chest seized. The words were both innocent and torturous. She forced a laugh, reaching for her own mug. Weird dreams, huh? Maybe you're just stressed or sleep-deprived. Danny tilted her head, squinting slightly, curiosity sharp. Yeah, maybe, but it feels more than that. Like I'm missing something or someone. And yet, I can't remember. Riley's stomach twisted. God, she's getting too close. I can't tell her. She'll freak out or worse, she'll pull away. So, she nodded, smiling gently, playing along. Well, dreams can be tricky like that. Totally normal. That night, alone in her room, Riley opened her laptop. Fingers trembling, she typed, "Sleepwalking, why people sleepwalk, subconscious desire." The search results sprawled before her, clinical yet oddly comforting. Causes ranged from stress, emotional trauma, unprocessed feelings, to subconscious urges surfacing in the night. So, maybe this isn't me. Maybe it's the sleepwalking. Maybe Danny. Maybe it's not wrong if it's subconscious. Her thoughts spiraled, mingling fear, guilt, and longing. She read articles, studies, forums, anything that could give a sliver of understanding. Sleepwalking wasn't just walking, it was an escape of the mind, an expression of unvoiced needs, and, sometimes, a mirror of the heart's deepest truths. But what happens if she remembers? What happens if she realizes I've been there, all those nights? Riley shivered. And yet, she couldn't deny it. Every moment, every brush of Danny's hand in the night, left her wanting more, needing more, craving the intimacy she could never fully claim while Danny was awake. As Riley closed her laptop, a single thought lingered, both frightening and exhilarating. I'll do anything to keep this ritual alive, even if it means lying to her forever. Chapter 5. Tormented Confessions. Riley leaned against the counter, fingers drumming nervously. Her heart hammered like a warning bell. She could feel Danny's gaze on her, curious, sharp, insistent. "Riley, you've been tired," Danny said softly, leaning on the doorway, concern flickering in her dark eyes. Dark circles. Unease. "What's going on?" "You've been different." Riley swallowed hard, panic and desire intertwining. "If I tell her, she'll see everything, the nights, the touches, the longing. She might hate me. She might pull away. I could lose her completely." But the alternative was worse. If I don't tell her, she's noticing anyway. Every look, every hesitation, every shadow in my eyes. And she'll find out. Eventually. She'll realize I've been holding back for a week. And then I'll lose her anyway, maybe forever. Her pulse thundered. She wanted to say something, anything, but the words stuck, jagged and dangerous, lodged in her throat. Danny stepped closer, tilting her head, eyes scanning Riley's face. "Riley, please. I can tell something's wrong. You don't have to hide it from me." Riley's knees threatened to buckle. The storm inside her roared guilt, fear, and an ache she couldn't name. "God, Danny. I've been watching you, every night. And I haven't said a word. And every moment you came close, I wanted you. I want you. But I can't. I can't ruin this." She forced a laugh, trembling. "I'm fine. Just tired, you know? Stress, life, all of it." Danny frowned, unconvinced. "Riley, you're lying." The words pierced her like ice. Riley felt the weight of her secret, the impossible tension of desire restrained. Her body ached, her mind screamed, but she wouldn't reveal the nights yet. Not until she could protect Danny from the truth, protect their friendship, protect herself from the storm she couldn't contain. "I'm tormented, Danny, and it's all your fault," Riley thought, heart splitting. "Not yours, mine. Mine for wanting you, for letting this go on. But if I stop it now, if I break the ritual, I'll lose the only moments I feel close to you. And I can't survive that." She offered a tight, forced smile. "Really? I'm okay. Just tired, that's all." Danny lingered, searching her face, doubt and concern tangled with something unspoken, something that, for Riley, made the ache almost unbearable. Riley held her ground, silently praying the ritual could continue, even as her soul trembled with the weight of the secret she carried, the desire she could no longer hide, and the knowledge that everything could unravel with a single word. Chapter 6: The Edge of Touch. The apartment was cloaked in shadow, the world outside hushed, leaving only the soft rhythm of Riley's heartbeat. Danny wandered as always, barefoot and ethereal in the half-light, hair tumbling across her face. She moved toward Riley, almost drawn by instinct, like gravity pulling two impossible things together. And then it happened. Danny leaned down, just slightly, and her lips brushed Riley's. A featherlight, almost accidental touch, but it was enough. Enough to ignite every nerve ending, every whispered want Riley had buried under months of friendship and nights of silent longing. Riley's breath caught. Her fingers twitched. Her entire body screamed, "Hold her. Don't let her go." She reached out instinctively, trembling, desperate. But Danny, still in that liminal world between sleep and waking, pulled back, turned, and began to walk away. Riley's hands hovered in the air, aching, useless. She wanted to grab Danny, to press herself into her warmth, to finally close the space that had haunted her nights for a week. But she couldn't. She couldn't. Not yet. Her chest heaved. Fingers clawed at the air where Danny's hand had brushed hers. Every fiber of her body ached to touch her, to kiss her properly, to taste what had only been stolen in fragments. God, I can't. I can't do this. I can't ruin her, I can't ruin us. But my body, my heart, everything wants her. Danny disappeared down the hall, her presence fading like a cruel tease. Riley sank to the floor, pressed her face into her hands, trembling with desire and frustration. The phantom weight of Danny's lips lingered, and the ache of unfulfilled longing clawed at her chest. She whispered to herself, voice cracking, just one kiss, and I'd die if she knew. I'd die if she pulled away. I can't. I can't. The apartment was silent again, but the storm inside Riley raged, hotter, fiercer, louder than ever. She knew this ritual, this nightly dance of closeness and denial, was spiraling, and with every brush, every fragment of contact, she was losing herself more and more to the desire she could not name, could not claim, could not risk. And yet, even in the ache, in the torment, she would let it continue. Because the only thing that made her feel alive was Danny, in the dark near her, unknowingly tearing her apart and leaving her trembling and longing. Chapter 7: The Spiral. Riley's nights had begun to stretch into something relentless. She didn't sleep, not really. Every sound, every flicker of movement in the apartment made her heart race. Every footstep of Danny's in the dark, every brush of skin, every half-remembered whisper, carved itself into Riley's memory like fire. She sat on the edge of her bed after Danny had returned to her room, running her hands through her hair, shivering with both want and fear. God, I can't stop thinking about her, about last night, about every night. And she doesn't even know, she has no idea what she does to me. By day, Riley tried to maintain composure. She laughed at Danny's jokes, made coffee, shared the usual chatter. But inside, the storm raged, waves of desire, guilt, fear, and longing crushing her chest. Each time Danny brushed against her in ordinary, waking life, shoulder grazing, hand slipping near hers, Riley's pulse shot through the roof, memories of phantom kisses and soft touches flashing in her mind. Danny, oblivious in her waking state, began to notice fragments of change too. She would pause mid-laugh, tilting her head, sensing a strange familiarity in the way Riley moved. Certain touches, how Riley adjusted her sleeve or reached for a mug, felt oddly comforting, almost intimate, and yet Danny couldn't place why. I've been having weird dreams, Danny admitted one morning over breakfast, eyes flicking toward Riley. I can't remember them, just fragments. But they feel familiar. Like they're about you. Riley's chest tightened painfully. Her throat constricted. How do I lie convincingly? How do I stop myself from confessing right here and ruining everything? Riley smiled, forcing calm. Dreams are tricky. Maybe your brain's just processing things. Nothing serious. Danny frowned, unconvinced, but let it drop, turning to her coffee. And Riley? Riley's mind screamed with every fiber of her being. She's sensing it. She's noticing. And I can't. I can't tell her. Not yet. But oh God, I want her more than I can survive. That night, Riley stayed awake long after Danny returned to her own room, staring at the ceiling. She read obsessively about sleepwalking, subconscious urges, and emotional triggers. Every explanation, every story she found only reinforced her own private torment. This ritual, these stolen touches, these ghostly brushes of intimacy, was consuming her, changing her, and leaving her desperate for more. And yet, she wouldn't stop. Not now. Not ever, if she could help it. Because the nights were the only time she could feel Danny near her without the unbearable risk of waking her, of confessing, of crossing lines that might shatter the delicate thread between them forever. Riley pressed her hands to her face, whispering into the dark. Just one more night. Just one more. And I'll survive, somehow, maybe. The storm was unrelenting. And Riley knew, with bone-deep certainty, that she was completely, irrevocably lost. Chapter 8. The Kiss That Burns. The apartment was drenched in shadows, the faint glow from the streetlights casting long, soft streaks across the carpet. Riley lay tense on her bed, heart hammering like a drum, every nerve screaming for the moment she both longed for and feared. Danny emerged from her room, barefoot and ghost-like, hair falling across her face. But this time, something felt different. The movement was deliberate, though still unconscious. Her presence was heavier, warmer, closer. Danny leaned down, closer than ever before, and pressed her lips to Riley's. Not a light, accidental brush. Not a fleeting touch. Riley felt the soft, wet press of Danny's lips and then, God, her tongue tracing lightly, teasing, mapping every curve of Riley's mouth. Riley's chest seized. Every muscle in her body locked, every instinct screaming, stop. Don't. You can't. But her heart betrayed her. Her body betrayed her. She needed to respond, to hold Danny, to melt into this impossible intimacy. No. I can't. I can't, she whispered to herself, teeth clenched, hands shaking. She reached out desperately, craving to touch, to pull Danny close, but stopped, frozen by fear, morality, and the terror of waking her. Her mind was a storm of agony. She's straight. She doesn't know. I can't. I can't. But God, her lips, her warmth, everything about her. The kiss lingered just long enough to sear Riley alive, then Danny turned away, drifting back toward her own room like a phantom, leaving Riley trembling, quaking, on the edge of collapse. Riley pressed her face into her hands, trembling with a mixture of longing, guilt, and raw need. Every fiber of her body screamed for Danny, but she couldn't claim her. Not now. Not this way. God, why does this hurt so much? Why does it feel so right? Why can't I stop wanting her? Riley thought, shaking, lips burning from memory, body aching from restraint. The ritual, this nightly, forbidden intimacy, was no longer just a game. It was consuming her, redefining her, leaving her shattered and aching, utterly lost to desire. And yet, she wouldn't stop. She couldn't. Even if it destroyed her, even if it destroyed them, even if one wrong moment could ruin everything, they would continue this dance, night after night, until the line between sleep and waking, desire and friendship, became impossible to distinguish. Chapter 9. The Morning After. Sunlight filtered softly through the blinds, catching dust motes that floated lazily in the kitchen. Riley moved stiffly, still trembling from the previous night, hands wrapped around a mug of coffee as if it could steady her heart. Every inch of her ached with memory, the feel of Danny's lips, the teasing brush of her tongue. Danny entered the kitchen, hair mussed from sleep, slippers dragging across the floor. She hummed softly, the sound cutting through Riley like a knife of longing. Riley stepped aside to let her pass, but as Danny reached for the sugar, her hand brushed Riley's arm light, accidental, fleeting. Riley's chest seized. Every nerve ignited. She froze, barely breathing. Danny tilted her head, brow furrowed, eyes narrowing slightly, as if trying to recall something just beyond reach. Huh, she murmured, voice soft, curious. That felt familiar. Riley's heart hammered in her ears. No, don't let her remember yet. Don't. What? Riley asked cautiously, forcing casualness into her tone, though every fiber of her body was screaming. Danny shook her head, a confused smile tugging at her lips. Nothing. It's silly. I thought I felt something. Like a memory, but it's gone. Riley nodded, trying to appear calm, trying to breathe normally, but inside she was a tempest. Every brush, every phantom sensation from last night was replaying in her mind like a burning film she couldn't pause. She's sensing it. She's remembering something, maybe just a fragment, and I can't tell her. I can't. Not yet. Riley forced herself to take a sip of coffee, trembling, trying to ground herself, knowing the ritual had left a mark not on Danny consciously, but on something deeper, more primal. And Danny, oblivious yet stirred, moved about the kitchen with a subtle, inexplicable curiosity, glancing at Riley from time to time, eyes soft, searching, unaware that her subconscious was tugging at memories she could not yet name. Riley's lips pressed tightly together, hands tightening on the mug, whispering to herself, I can't stop this. I can't. God, I can't. The air between them was charged, quiet, and fraught with an intimacy neither could yet fully claim, but both could feel in its tremulous, undeniable presence. Chapter 10. Fragments. Days passed, but the rhythm of the apartment shifted. Danny moved with her usual energy, laughing, making coffee, scrolling through her phone, but small things began to tug at her attention, stray sensations, shadows of memories she couldn't place. A brush of Riley's hand when passing the cereal box made her pause mid-motion. A fleeting warmth as Riley handed her the coffee. A soft exhale near her ear as Riley leaned over to tie her shoelace. Danny would stop, tilt her head slightly, brow furrowing, just for a moment, as though something familiar lingered at the edge of her mind, but then it was gone, like smoke. I had another weird dream last night, Danny admitted one morning, casually, but with a quiet edge, voice low, eyes meeting Riley's just for a heartbeat. I can't remember much, but it felt like I was near someone. Really close. Like, touching, but not in a normal way. It's stupid. Riley's chest tightened, every muscle tensing. She's feeling it. She's sensing it, just enough, and I can't tell her. I can't ruin this, not yet. Dreams can do that, Riley said softly, forcing a casual shrug, her heart hammering behind her ribs. Sometimes your brain tries to work out feelings you don't even know you have. Danny nodded slowly, lips pressed together, eyes distant for a fraction of a second. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's just weird. But kind of familiar somehow. Riley swallowed, forcing a laugh she couldn't feel. Familiar. God, she feels it. She doesn't know how, but she does. And I want her so badly I can barely breathe. The days continued, each one layered with subtle traces. A fleeting brush of shoulders. The warmth of Riley's hand lingering too long on the doorknob. The sensation of Riley's hair falling across Danny's face, or Riley bending close to help with something small. Every touch was almost nothing, but enough to echo in Danny's subconscious, to whisper at the edges of memory. And every echo tortured Riley, who watched Danny inch closer to awareness, powerless to intervene, desperate to savor these stolen intimacies a little longer. One day, she'll remember. One day she'll know. And I don't know if I can survive that moment, Riley thought, heart aching, hands trembling, lips pressed tight. But until then, I will endure, I will watch, I will burn quietly, every night, every day, consumed by her. Chapter 11. The Kiss That Breaks. The apartment was drenched in the soft, silvery glow of the moon. Riley lay on her bed, breath shallow, muscles taut, eyes wide in anticipation. Every sound, the faint hum of the refrigerator, the whisper of the wind against the window, made her pulse race. Danny emerged from her room again, barefoot, hair falling across her face. There was a confidence to her movements tonight, subtle but undeniable, as if her subconscious had decided to lean closer, to linger longer. Riley's heart hammered in her chest as Danny approached the bed, stopping just short, gaze unfocused, lips slightly parted. And then, Danny leaned down. Not a brush, not a tease. This time, the kiss was longer, deeper, hungry in a way Riley had never dared to imagine. Her tongue traced along Riley's lips, gentle, exploratory, and every nerve in Riley's body screamed in exquisite agony. Riley's hands twitched, wanting desperately to hold her, to pull her close, to surrender to the longing that had been bottled up for months, but she didn't. She couldn't. Fear, morality, the fragile balance of their friendship restrained her from crossing the line. She let the kiss linger just long enough to sear herself, memorizing every nuance, every taste, every warmth, then pressed her hands into her face as Danny pulled back, drifting away like a ghost. Riley trembled, lips tingling, breath catching. God, I can't. I can't. Her body ached with desire, every cell screaming for more, but she couldn't give herself to her. Not yet. Not like this. Chapter 12. Fragments aligning. Morning came pale and soft. Riley moved stiffly through the kitchen, still tasting Danny's lips, still shivering with remembered warmth. Danny approached, casually brushing past Riley to grab a mug, but this time, she froze mid-step. She tilted her head, eyes narrowing slightly, brow furrowed, lips parting in confusion. "Riley," Danny said slowly, voice low, hesitant, almost afraid she might sound ridiculous. "Do you ever feel like something happened, but you can't remember it fully? Like fragments of touch or a kiss, but you don't know where it came from?" Riley's chest seized. Every instinct screamed at her to lie, to hide, to protect the fragile thread of secrecy she had nurtured. She's starting to remember. She's sensing it. And I can't. I can't tell her yet. I guess dreams can do that, Riley said softly, voice shaking. Sometimes your mind mixes memories, feelings, touches, nothing real, just fragments. Danny's gaze lingered on her, eyes searching, the pull of subconscious recollection threading through her expression. A fleeting warmth, a half-remembered brush of lips, the soft weight of Riley's body near hers, it all tugged at the edges of Danny's awareness. And Riley, heart pounding, hands trembling, whispered to herself, "She's sensing it, she's starting to connect the dots, and I can't stop wanting her. Not now. Not ever." The fragments were aligning slowly, teasingly, inexorably. Danny didn't have the full picture yet, but the tension was electric, the intimacy undeniable, and Riley's heart was caught in a storm she could no longer control. Chapter 13. Teasing Shadows. The apartment was quiet, soft morning light spilling across the floor. Danny moved through it like she was half dreaming, brushing past Riley, reaching for the sugar, the mug, the fridge handle, but this time, something lingered. A warmth, a faint echo of touch, a memory that didn't belong to any ordinary morning. She paused, hand hovering in midair after brushing Riley's shoulder, brow furrowed, lips parting slightly. "Riley, do you ever feel like someone's been close to you, even when you're alone?" Riley froze, hands gripping her mug like it was a lifeline. Her heart hammered, every nerve screaming. She's recalling more. She's connecting the fragments. I can't lie convincingly this time. I can't lose her. Riley faltered, forcing casualness, shaking her head. "I guess, maybe? Dreams, maybe? You know, your brain playing tricks." Danny tilted her head, eyes narrowing. "No, not just dreams. I feel it, like someone's been holding me or touching me. But I can't remember when." Riley's pulse thundered. Every fiber of her body ached with desire, guilt, and fear. She needed to reach out, to take Danny's hand, to hold her close and tell her everything. But the risk, the impossible line they had walked for weeks, stopped her. Danny's gaze softened, eyes searching Riley's. There was a vulnerability there, a flicker of recognition that neither fully understood. It's weird, but nice somehow. Comforting. Even though I don't know why. Riley forced a soft smile, voice trembling slightly. Maybe it's just familiarity? Someone you've trusted for a long time. Someone who's always been there. Danny's lips curved in a small, almost shy smile. Her hand brushed Riley's again, lightly, almost accidentally, but Riley felt it like fire. Every touch, every brush, every fragment of memory aligned just enough to send her heart into overdrive. She's remembering. She's feeling it. She's starting to want me too. Riley thought, trembling, lips pressed tight to keep from crying out or reaching for her. God, I can't. I can't, not yet. But the edge is here. The edge is right here, and we're both standing on it. The apartment was quiet, yet it thrummed with tension. Every glance, every fleeting touch, every shared breath was a spark. Neither of them had spoken the truth, but the fragments were weaving together, teasing, tugging, pulling them toward a moment they could no longer avoid. And Riley, heart racing, trembling with anticipation and fear, whispered to herself, soon she'll know. And when she does, everything changes. Chapter 14. Uncharted Pull. Danny moved through her morning like a ghost, every mundane action tinged with a subtle electricity she couldn't explain. Her fingers lingered on the mug longer than needed, brushing against Riley's hand again, lightly, accidentally, but her chest had jumped at the touch. Why do I feel like this? She wondered, staring out the window at the soft morning light. Riley, it's Riley. She's my best friend. I'm supposed to. I'm straight. I'm not this. But the pull was undeniable. It wasn't just comfort or habit or the warm familiarity of 6 years of friendship. It was more. It was in the brush of Riley's hand, the tilt of her smile, the way her presence made Danny's chest ache and her stomach twist. It's not just my imagination, she admitted to herself reluctantly. It feels like, I don't know, like wanting someone I shouldn't? But how can I feel this? I like men I don't. I'm not. Her mind raced, twisting through possibilities, denying them, then circling back. But when she's near, when she touches me, it feels right. Wrong, yes, but right. Like something I've been missing. Something I didn't even know I needed. Danny shook her head, blinking rapidly, trying to dispel the confusion. I can't feel this way. I'm straight. And yet, I want her. I want her so badly I can barely breathe, even though I know it shouldn't be like this. She took a slow breath, forcing herself to look away, to focus on something else. But Riley's presence lingered in her mind like a heartbeat, persistent, insistent, impossible to ignore. Every glance, every brush, every fragment of memory from those nights when she had felt so close, pulled at her like gravity. What is happening to me? Danny whispered in the silence of her thoughts. I don't understand, but it feels real. And I can't stop thinking about her. And even as she tried to rationalize, to shove the feelings aside, her subconscious whispered truth. The pull wasn't going away. It was only growing, teasing her with every passing day, every stolen touch, every fragment of a memory she couldn't fully grasp yet. Chapter 15. The Awakening Kiss. The apartment was quiet, wrapped in shadows, thick with tension that had been building for weeks. Riley lay rigid in the dark, heart hammering, muscles coiled like springs. She knew the ritual was reaching a tipping point. She had felt it in the way Danny moved, the way her presence lingered like a living ache. And then Danny entered the room, barefoot, silent, hair falling over her face. The air shifted. There was a hesitation in Danny's step, a subtle gravity pulling her closer, as if her subconscious had decided it would no longer contain itself. Danny leaned down, lips brushing Riley's, but this time, it wasn't tentative. It wasn't fleeting. Her lips parted, tongue tracing gently, deepening the kiss, exploring in ways Riley had only dreamed of. Riley's hands shook. Every instinct screamed, stop. Don't. You can't. But her body betrayed her. She reached out instinctively, fingers tangling in Danny's hair, holding her close, pressing against her, tasting, memorizing, burning alive with desire she could no longer restrain. And then, a small sound, a gasp, a shift in Danny's weight. Her eyes fluttered open. Time froze. Riley's heart jumped into her throat. Danny's eyes widened, pupils dilated, lips still pressed to hers in shock and confusion. "Oh, Riley." Danny's voice was trembling, uncertain, breathless. What?" Riley froze, hands still holding her, trembling with panic and longing. "God, she's awake. She's awake. I can't." Danny pulled back slightly, eyes searching Riley's face, mouth slightly open, a mixture of confusion, shock, and something else, something unfamiliar but undeniable. Her chest heaved as she tried to process the moment, the touch, the intensity, the fact that her subconscious had finally collided with reality. I, Danny started, voice catching. She stepped back, shaking her head, eyes wide, processing. I thought I was dreaming. What happened?" Riley's heart hammered like a drum, every nerve raw, every desire exposed. "This is it. This is the moment. I have to tell her, or I'll lose her, or maybe I'll finally have her." Her hands fell slowly from Danny's hair, trembling, voice barely a whisper. "Danny, I need to explain." Danny's gaze softened slightly, fear and uncertainty battling with a flicker of recognition. Her lips still tingled with memory, her chest tight, her heart racing, and in that moment, the fragile boundary between friendship, desire, and something deeper shattered, leaving them both trembling on the edge of revelation. Chapter 16. Flight and Silence. Danny stumbled back, eyes wide, chest heaving, mind scrambling. What just happened? The kiss, the feel of Riley's hands, the warmth of her body, the taste of her lips, flashed through her mind, impossible to erase. Oh God, oh God. Danny muttered, voice breaking, and then, without another word, she turned and bolted. Slippers slapped against the hardwood floor, the sound sharp, jarring, final. Riley reached out, hands trembling, voice raw. "Danny, wait. Please." But Danny didn't stop. She didn't look back. She fled to her sister's apartment across town, heart pounding, thoughts a chaotic storm. The first wave was horror and shock. I kissed Riley. I kissed my best friend. And she, oh God, she knows. She knows now. Hours passed in dizzying confusion, Danny pacing her sister's apartment, mind refusing to settle. Then came the anger and blame. Why didn't she stop me? Why didn't she tell me it was what it was? Why did she let it happen? The questions twisted inside her, sharp and bitter. Riley's face haunted her, warm, soft, impossibly familiar. She's hurting, she's waiting, and I ran. I ran from her. Why did I run? Then came the silence, the heavy, suffocating pause after the storm of emotion. Danny sank onto the couch, hands clasped over her knees, trembling, the apartment quiet, but her mind loud. And in that quiet, something else began to emerge, a truth she could no longer deny. I like her. I really like her. More than a friend. More than anything I've ever let myself feel. And it terrifies me. Her chest tightened, stomach twisting with fear and longing. God, she's Riley. My best friend. And I can't face her. Not yet. Not like this. The silence stretched, unyielding, heavy, yet tinged with a warmth Danny couldn't name. She realized that running hadn't erased anything. The pull, the desire, the connection, it was still there, stubborn, undeniable. And even as she shivered on the couch, trembling with fear and longing, Danny knew one truth above all. She couldn't stay away forever. But the thought of facing Riley, of confronting what had happened, made her stomach coil with terror. Not yet, not yet. I'll figure it out. I have to. Chapter 17. The Waiting Storm. Riley sat on the edge of her bed, hands tangled in her hair, heart pounding so fiercely it felt like it would burst from her chest. The apartment felt hollow, eerily silent without Danny's presence, the soft hum of the fridge, the distant traffic, Even the faint creak of the floorboards seemed sharper, louder, accusing. Where did she go? How long is she staying away? Every second stretched like a cruel eternity. Riley had known this moment was coming, had felt the ritual teetering on the edge of exposure, but nothing could have prepared her for the raw, gnawing ache of absence. Memories of the kiss, the way Danny's lips had parted, the heat of her body pressed against hers, the shock in those wide, waking eyes flashed over and over, a relentless loop. Her chest burned with longing, guilt, and fear. She's blaming me. I should have stopped her. I should have said something. God, I knew this could happen. I should have. Riley buried her face in her hands, trembling. Every fiber of her being ached for Danny, her touch, her warmth, her presence. And yet, she could not go to her. Not while Danny was raw, confused, scared. Not while Danny was processing the impossible collision of desire and friendship. She imagined Danny across town, pacing, heart racing, struggling with the same emotions Riley had been hiding for months. She's hurting. I'm hurting. And it's all my fault. But God, I need her. I need her so badly. Riley's chest tightened as she thought about the ritual, about the nights that had led them here, brushing hair from her face, ghostly kisses, fleeting touches, whispered breaths in the dark. I wanted her to feel safe. I wanted her to touch me without knowing it. And now she knows. She's awake. She's afraid. And I can't make her stay. I can't make her forgive me. But I want her more than air, more than life itself. Hours passed. Riley moved through the apartment like a ghost, making coffee, picking up the little things Danny had left behind, staring at the empty spaces Danny's presence had filled. Every sound, every shadow made her heart lurch, imagining Danny's steps, her voice, her hand brushing against hers. And in that quiet, aching, longing silence, Riley made a vow, whispered to herself through tears. I will wait. I will endure. I will hold nothing back when she's ready. And when she comes back, she will know. She will know everything. The storm inside her was relentless desire, fear, love, guilt, hope, all colliding in a perfect, painful chaos. And she would survive it. Somehow. Until Danny returned. Chapter 18. Facing the Storm Within. Danny sat cross-legged on her sister's couch, staring at the floor, hands clasped tightly around her knees. Her chest was tight, stomach twisting, mind spinning. The kiss, the feel of Riley's lips, her warmth, her hands, played on an endless loop, impossible to ignore. I'm straight. I'm supposed to be straight. And yet, her fingers dug into her knees as her thoughts raced. And yet I can't stop thinking about her. I can't stop wanting her. Why does it feel so, right? So necessary? She closed her eyes, trying to force herself to breathe, to reason, to shove the feelings back into the corners of her mind. But they refused to be contained. Every fleeting memory, every fragment from those nights, the soft brush of Riley's hand, the lingering warmth after a touch, the whisper of her voice close, pulled at her like a current she could not swim against. She's my best friend, and I fell for her and I love her. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I do. And it terrifies me. Hours passed. Danny alternated between pacing and sitting still, mind whirling, heart aching, stomach fluttering with both fear and longing. She replayed the kiss again and again, trying to dissect it, rationalize it, understand it, but she couldn't. Then came the quiet truth, whispered in a trembling voice she barely recognized as her own. I want her. I need her. I can't stay away. I can't hide from this. The terror of that realization hit her like a wave. What if she hates me? What if I've ruined everything? What if she doesn't feel the same? But under the fear, under the panic, there was a flicker of clarity, of courage. I can't let this go unspoken. I can't run anymore. I need her. I need Riley. And if she feels even a fraction of what I feel, maybe there's a chance. Danny drew a deep breath, trembling, heart hammering in her chest. She rose from the couch, feeling the weight of weeks of tension and unspoken desire lift slightly with every step. She didn't know how Riley would react, didn't know if it would be perfect or messy or terrifying, but she knew she could no longer hide. I have to face her. I have to. Her fingers hovered over her phone for a moment, then clenched into a fist. No messages, no excuses. She would go. She would look into Riley's eyes and speak the truth of what had been building for weeks. And in that moment, Danny understood one thing with absolute certainty. She could no longer deny herself. She could no longer deny Riley. Chapter 19. The Reckoning. The apartment felt impossibly quiet when Danny returned, shoulders tense, breath shallow, heart hammering. Riley sat on the couch, a shadow of herself, hair mussed, eyes rimmed with dark circles, clutching a mug of cold coffee like it could anchor her to sanity. She hadn't slept, not really, since Danny had fled. Danny paused at the doorway, words caught in her throat. She had never seen Riley like this, so vulnerable, so worn, so haunted. Every instinct screamed to rush forward, to grab her, to hold her and never let go. But fear, shame, and uncertainty held her back. Riley's head lifted slowly, eyes meeting Danny's with a storm of longing, fear, and guilt. You came back," she whispered, voice hoarse. Danny swallowed, moving slowly, carefully, each step deliberate. I had to. I can't," her voice broke, caught between terror and need. I need to know. I need to know everything, Riley. How long? What happened? Why didn't you stop me? Riley's chest ached so violently she could barely breathe. She set the mug aside, fingers trembling as she reached for Danny, but stopped herself, hesitant, terrified, desperate. Okay, she whispered, voice cracking. I'll tell you everything. And she did. She told Danny about the weeks she had watched her sleepwalked, the way she had let herself linger in the shadows, the touches, the brushes of hair, the whispers, the kisses. She told her about the agony of restraint, the overwhelming desire, the nights spent watching Danny, yearning for her, aching for her touch. I didn't wake you, Riley admitted finally, voice trembling. Because I was terrified. I didn't want to scare you. I didn't want to ruin us. And God, Danny, if this is the only way I get close to you, even for a moment. I had to let it happen. I couldn't stop myself. I couldn't stop it, or you. Danny froze, eyes wide, chest tight, trembling as Riley's words hit her like a tidal wave. Her mind raced through the fragments, the memories, the sensations she had been feeling for days, the brushes, the warmth, the kisses. They all aligned now, every moment suddenly making sense. Riley's hands hovered, almost trembling over Danny's, desperate, pleading. I'm so sorry, she whispered. I should have stopped it. I should have told you sooner. But I was so afraid. Afraid of losing you. Afraid of everything. Danny's lips trembled as her chest heaved. Her hand reached slowly, hesitantly, and brushed against Riley's softly, trembling, electric. She swallowed hard. You didn't lose me, she whispered. I think I've been feeling it too. All of it. I didn't know how to face it. Riley's eyes filled with tears, chest heaving. You mean that? Danny nodded, a slow, deliberate movement, her fingers tracing the edge of Riley's hand. I was scared. I still am. But I don't want to run anymore. Not from you. Not from this. Riley exhaled, relief and longing washing over her in a shuddering wave. Slowly, carefully, she leaned in. Danny met her halfway, lips brushing first, tentative, trembling, a gentle confession of weeks of desire. And then, as the storm inside them finally found its release, the kiss deepened, not hesitant anymore, not stolen, but conscious, mutual, full of everything they had been holding back, weeks of longing, fear, confusion, and undeniable love. The apartment around them melted away. Nothing existed but the two of them, trembling, hearts entwined, finally facing what had been impossible to speak but impossible to deny. Chapter 20. The Night of Release. The apartment was bathed in soft moonlight, shadows dancing across walls as Danny and Riley sat close on the couch, hands entwined, foreheads pressed together. The silence between them was thick with unspoken desire, electric and alive, a pause pregnant with everything they had been holding back. Riley whispered, voice trembling, "I can't. Not anymore. I don't want to hold back from you." Danny's lips curved into a small, hesitant smile, eyes shimmering. "Neither do I." And then, finally, the restraint broke. Riley leaned in, lips brushing Danny's, tender at first, exploratory. Danny responded immediately, her hands tangling in Riley's hair, pulling her closer, trembling with need and relief. Every touch was fiery, desperate, a confession in its own right. They shifted to the bed, bodies pressing together, skin alive under fingertips, hearts hammering in unison. Every kiss, every caress, was a release of weeks of longing, the stolen touches of the past, the brushes in the dark, the teasing fragments that had haunted their dreams, all now flowing freely between them. Danny traced Riley's lips with her fingertips, memorizing them, worshipping them, tasting the warmth she had longed for without knowing. Riley responded with equal fervor, hands exploring, holding, discovering, reveling in every curve, every shiver, every gasp of delight that escaped Danny's lips. Words were sparse, replaced by moans, gasps, whispered names, and soft laughter trembling with relief and need. They moved together slowly at first, savoring every sensation, every heartbeat, letting the connection deepen, unhurried, unbound by fear or hesitation. Time became meaningless. The night stretched, endless and consuming, each kiss a vow, each touch a declaration. Every ounce of longing, every ounce of fear, transformed into pure, raw, unadulterated love. Riley pressed her forehead to Danny's, breath mingling, hearts pounding in a rhythm only they could hear. "I've wanted you, every second," Riley whispered. Danny's hands cupped Riley's face, eyes shining. "And I've needed you. Always." The night held them in its embrace, giving them permission to let go completely, to feel, to love, to be unafraid, unrestrained, utterly consumed by one another. And when dawn's first light filtered through the blinds, they lay entwined, hearts still racing, bodies tangled, faces pressed together, a soft smile shared between them. No words were needed. The ritual, the longing, the weeks of stolen moments, they were theirs now, fully, freely, without fear or restraint. They had crossed the line together, not by accident, not by mistake, but by choice. And in that choice, in that night of pure surrender, they found themselves, each other, and a love that had been waiting all along. Epilogue: Morning after and new beginnings. Sunlight spilled softly across the room, catching the gentle curve of Riley's shoulder, the way Danny's fingers rested against her skin. They lay tangled in the sheets, limbs intertwined, hearts still racing from the night's surrender. The air was warm with the scent of skin and shared breath, heavy but comforting. Danny stirred first, blinking at the soft light, eyes immediately finding Riley's. A small smile curved her lips, shy but radiant. "Morning," she whispered, voice husky. Riley's own smile mirrored hers, a mixture of exhaustion, relief, and pure happiness. "Morning," she replied softly, brushing a strand of hair from Danny's face. The touch lingered, not a reflexive gesture this time, but a conscious act of affection. They lay together for a long moment, words unnecessary, the silence speaking volumes. After weeks of stolen glances, ghostly touches, and hidden longing, the simplicity of the present felt like heaven. Finally, Danny exhaled, a soft laugh escaping her. "So, we're doing this. Really doing this." Her hand traced lazy patterns over Riley's arm, exploring the new territory of their love. Riley nodded, eyes glinting with warmth and mischief. "Yeah, no hiding, no pretending. Just us. All of it." The morning unfolded slowly. Coffee was made, breakfast shared, small touches lingering longer than necessary, fingers brushing, shoulders pressing, the occasional brush of lips. Every ordinary act carried the weight of weeks of longing, now transformed into conscious intimacy. Danny paused at one point, looking into Riley's eyes. You didn't just let me kiss you in my sleep," she murmured. You wanted me to feel safe. Two to choose. Is that why you didn't stop me?" Riley's smile was soft, tender, full of love. Exactly that. I wanted you to feel it without fear. I wanted you to know that it was your choice, not mine. And I wanted to be close to you, even if I couldn't admit it before. Danny's heart thudded, warmth flooding her chest. She leaned in, pressing a gentle kiss to Riley's lips. "Well, I choose you," she said simply, truth and desire threading through every word. The rest of the day slipped by in a blend of the familiar and the new, laughing at old jokes, stealing kisses in the kitchen, holding hands while lounging on the couch. The friendship that had anchored them for 6 years had evolved, deepened, strengthened by honesty, trust, and the love that had been there all along. And in the quiet moments, when the apartment was still, and the sunlight painted gold across their skin, both Riley and Danny knew one thing. They had survived fear, confusion, and longing, and in doing so, had found something extraordinary. A love that was tender, fierce, consuming, and real. No secrets. No restraint. Just them. Together. Slice of life. Tender fragments. Morning coffee. Riley leaned against the counter, hair tousled, one eyebrow raised as Danny fumbled with the coffee machine. "You really think you can make coffee without spilling it on the floor?" she teased, a grin playing on her lips. Danny rolled her eyes, but smiled, brushing past Riley to taste the brew. "Well, I didn't burn down the apartment yet," she quipped, pressing a quick kiss to Riley's jaw as she passed. Riley shivered, letting the warmth linger. Later, they were folding laundry together. Danny held up a shirt and smirked. "You have way too many black t-shirts. It's like living with a shadow." "Better a shadow than a ghost," Riley shot back, grabbing a sock and flicking it at Danny. The sock hit her shoulder and Danny yelped, catching Riley in a playful tackle, laughter spilling across the room. Even in mundane chores, their connection made every moment electric. Night fell and they curled up on the couch, a blanket draped over them. Riley's hand found Danny's, fingers intertwining naturally. No words were needed, just the soft press of hands, the warmth, the shared heartbeat. Danny rested her head against Riley's shoulder, sighing contentedly. "I still can't believe this. Us," she murmured. Riley kissed the top of her head. "Neither can I. But I wouldn't change a single thing." Then, walking to the grocery store, Riley brushed against Danny's hand intentionally, a sly smile teasing her lips. Danny felt her stomach flutter, heart racing, and leaned just a fraction closer. "You're impossible," she said, mock annoyance in her tone, but her eyes sparkled with delight. "And you love it," Riley countered softly, pulling her closer in the narrow aisle, letting their hands linger together. Later that evening, Danny whispered, "Do you remember those nights, before I knew? When I was asleep?" Her voice was soft, almost shy, yet curious. Riley smiled, heart pounding, eyes glinting. "Every single one," she admitted. "I wouldn't change them either. They led us here." Danny's lips curved into a soft, mischievous grin. "Then maybe we should make new memories. Awake this time." Riley laughed, leaning in for a kiss that was slow, lingering, full of the promise of countless more days and nights together. Final scene. The breath of us. The night was quiet, the city lights spilling through the curtains like liquid gold. Riley and Danny lay together on the bed, limbs entwined, hearts still echoing the rhythm of their shared surrender. The world outside moved on, but inside their small cocoon, time had paused. Riley's fingers traced lazy patterns along Danny's arm, memorizing, worshipping, and loving every curve. Danny's head rested on Riley's chest, breaths mingling, chest rising and falling with a harmony that had been impossible before. "I never thought this would feel like home," Danny whispered, voice soft, almost a song. Riley smiled, lips brushing the top of her head. "Home isn't a place," she said gently. "It's this. It's you. It's us." Danny turned slightly, eyes glinting with quiet wonder, tracing the line of Riley's jaw with her fingertip. And we survived everything. The fear, the confusion, the nights apart. Riley's hand cupped Danny's cheek, thumb brushing over her lips. Yes, and we let it lead us here. To this, to each other. And nothing else matters. For a long moment, they simply breathed together, letting the silence speak the words their hearts had already known. Every stolen glance, every touch in the dark, every heartbeat of longing had led them to this calm, this perfect knowing. Danny whispered again, softer this time. I never knew love could feel like this. Safe and fierce and endless all at once. Riley's lips found hers in a slow, tender kiss, not urgent, not fleeting, but eternal in its promise. It's ours, she murmured. All of it. And it will always be. Outside, the world continued, unknowing, unchanging. But inside that small apartment, two hearts had collided, fractured, and found their perfect rhythm. They lay together, a soft hum of contentment and longing threading through every heartbeat, every touch. And in that quiet, in that stolen eternity, Riley and Danny understood the truth they had been seeking all along. Love could be brave, love could be gentle, love could burn without destroying, and when it chose them, it chose fully, without hesitation, without fear. Wrapped together, breath mingling, hearts beating in unison, they closed their eyes, letting the night cradle them, letting the world fall away, letting the story of them settle softly into forever. Life after the storm. Their new ritual continued in small things that made them theirs. Sunlit morning. Riley stretches lazily in bed, Danny curled against her side, fingers entwined. You're warm, Danny murmurs, nuzzling into Riley's shoulder. Riley laughs softly. I could say the same about you. They lie there, watching sunlight pool across the sheets, letting the world wait. Their kitchen mischief. Danny hums while cooking breakfast, flour dusting her nose. Riley sneaks up behind her, pressing a kiss to the back of her neck. Morning, trouble, she teases. Danny spins, laughing, catching Riley in a playful embrace. Even the simplest routines shimmer with joy. Shared silence. They sit on the couch together in the evening, reading separate books, hands occasionally brushing, feet entwining. The silence is not empty, it's comfortable, electric, a quiet intimacy that says more than words ever could. Impulsive adventure. One rainy afternoon, they dash through puddles on the street, laughing like children, drenched and wild. Riley dips Danny in a dramatic spin, and they collapse into each other, soaked, breathless, hearts pounding, laughter echoing against the walls of the city. Nighttime whispers. Late at night, tangled in sheets, Danny traces patterns on Riley's skin, whispering half-formed thoughts and secrets. Riley responds with kisses along her collarbone, laughter, and murmured confessions. The room is warm, the night theirs, and the world beyond the window fades entirely. Quiet moments of love. Sometimes, it's just holding hands while walking down a familiar street, or sharing a cup of coffee, or leaning on each other in the middle of a movie. The ordinary moments, once unnoticed, now shimmer with tenderness, desire, and the deep knowledge that they are no longer just friends, they are home. Riley's hand found Danny's in the quiet dark, their fingers curling together like they had always been meant to, and in that simple touch, the world finally made sense. The apartment was silent, save for the soft hum of the city outside and the gentle rhythm of their breathing. Danny lay against Riley, forehead pressed to her collarbone, eyes half closed, tracing idle patterns along Riley's arm with her fingertips. Riley's hand cupped the back of Danny's head, thumb brushing a stray strand of hair from her cheek, lingering there as if committing the feel of her skin to memory. She whispered softly, voice thick with love and wonder, I could stay like this forever. Danny tilted her head up slightly, lips brushing Riley's in the gentlest of kisses, a slow, tender promise. Me too, she whispered back. Forever, with you. They sank deeper into the couch, bodies molded together, hearts synced, a quiet laughter escaping here and there as they shared soft jokes and teasing murmurs. No urgency, no need, just presence, trust, and love in its purest form. Eventually, the apartment dimmed with the setting sun, their whispers fading into contented sighs. Riley held Danny close, pressing her lips to the top of her head one last time. Danny nestled against her, murmuring a sleepy, "I love you," before their breathing slowed, sinking into the perfect, shared rhythm of two hearts finally home. The world outside continued on, but inside that quiet cocoon, Riley and Danny slept safe, fulfilled, and utterly together. And in the quiet where longing once lived, Riley and Danny slept, held by love, unafraid, finally home. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe and like this video and follow me for more stories. You are always welcome here, and leave me a comment or a thumbs up, just letting me know if you like the story and would like more, or is there perhaps an idea that you would like to share or let me write for you.